Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. For today's first video, I've got posts from Am I the A-hole, relationship advice, and Today I effed up. So if you want to get started with the stories, then just use the timestamps below the video. Now I would like to thank all of you that support me, either as Twitch subscribers, YouTube members, or even donating during the live streams. Thanks so much for your support. And if this is the first time watching one of my videos and you like it, then consider subscribing to the channel and joining us on Discord. Now let's get started with today's stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's from user Throwaway Tired AF Wife. Am I the a-hole for being upset with my husband for using my bonus on him? History. My husband, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been married about 4 years now. We dated in college and got married after. He finished college with a finance degree and thought he would go into accounting. Well, he quickly found out that was not his passion, so he bounced around jobs and ideas. Business, teacher, lawyer, but nothing really kept him saying, "This is what I want to do." This was pre-COVID. Since COVID, he has not attempted anything. He says after the pandemic there will be a boom in jobs and he can find something that he's passionate about. I have been working full-time and thankfully my job became remote and pays the bills while keeping food on the table. Incident in question. After the fiscal year closed, my work had done really well. We sell medical testing equipment, so it was a big product of 2020. I was given a promotion, I got a little pay raise and a small bonus. I was really excited because I could finally repair my purse and replace my shoes. My friend's puppy destroyed, but I acknowledge I should not have left my purse on a low stool in front of the puppy's bed, so my fault. I was so excited to tell my husband, but he seemed more excited than me over this promotion. He started going off how he could redo his game area and get the new systems since he was tired of his others, and I was dumbfounded. I got really quiet because I almost could not believe what he was saying. He eventually goes out and gets himself a new system, chair, and mouse. He had basically spent my bonus. I was so upset and ultimately hurt and numb. We ended up getting into an argument and he called me selfish for not being happy that he got to achieve his dream, and I am spoiled for being upset I couldn't spend this money on me first. I basically called him an ungrateful a-hole and asked why does he deserve new stuff when I have been providing. He got really quiet on that one and stormed out saying he would be staying with his family, only about an hour away. I have been getting angry calls and texts due to the fact he didn't feel supported in his own home, and if I am making the money I can get whatever I want when I want and I shouldn't throw it in his face he doesn't have an income. Which is not true. I'm trying to keep a roof over our head and food on the table. All his friends and family think I way overreacted to something that makes my husband happy, and that the next time we get a large sum of money, my husband said he would let me repair my purse. I haven't responded and I don't think I will for a few days, but I have gotten so many "you're such a bitch" and I'm starting to wonder if I really am. OP, in my opinion, you are neither a bitch or an a-hole. Now, I think your husband should be allowed to look for a profession that he feels passionate about. Absolutely. But he's not even trying to figure out what that is. Apparently, he's just playing video games and has been wanting a new system because he's bored of the old ones. The part that I find ridiculous is that he got mad at you for wasting this money on achieving his dream. So his dream and achievement is to buy a computer, a chair, and a mouse? And on top of that, the nerve of him saying that the next time you get a bonus, he's going to let you spend it on what you want? What the F is wrong with this guy? He has no self-awareness. Now, I don't know if he's depressed or not. It doesn't sound like it. But you were absolutely right to call him out. Now, I'm not going to get into how the family reacted because that is a totally different rant on my part. And so I ask you, what do you think? Is OP the a-hole or not? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to those community comments to see their judgment. Buffalo Bills Girl 76 says, not the a-hole. Also, as someone who's been in a relationship with this type of person, lawyers can be found on Google. OP, please leave. I promise it will hurt at first, and you'll be scared as hell, but you're going to have a better life because of it. You don't want a child brought up in this thinking it's okay. Stream Angler says, not the a-hole, he is selfish and entitled. I would start separating your finances to protect your future self. Not saying you will split or should split, but this is reckless. And OP responds, I was hoping to not have to go there because I believed a marriage was a union between two people and that they shouldn't have anything entitled to them. But after thousands disappeared, I'm starting to wonder what this union means to him. Mrs. Sophia Brown says, not the a-hole, and he's trying to manipulate you into feeling bad, rather than taking responsibility for his crappy actions. You clean the house and make the money. What does he bring to your relationship? What he's done is unacceptable, childish, and selfish. I'd return his new toys and tell him to stay at his parents' until he gets a clue about adult life. I'm not saying divorce him, but do not let this slide even an inch. Don't give in to his gaslighting. You are right. There is no argument in the world that he can make to justify his behavior. And OP responds, thank you for this. I felt so hurt that he could spend it like nothing and then I'm supposed to be the bad guy. I think this is the first time where I felt my partner isn't my partner. OP's edit update. Wow, thank you everyone. I was not expecting this kind of support. I appreciate all the kind messages and compassion. This is more than I have ever felt in my life, so thank you Reddit. I took the weekend to reflect on what I want and read through the comments and messages. I see your point and that I can't keep treating this like a marriage if he doesn't. So here's to today and my first step towards freedom. I am separating the finances immediately and contacting a local lawyer to see my options and rights, as well as therapy options for him. I will present this to him and he gets to choose. But I refused to baby an almost 30-year-old. If he wants that, well, he has his mother. Thank you everyone. I will try an update in the future. Well, the community definitely thinks OP is not in the wrong here and the husband is the a-hole. And also, thousands? I mean, I know a gaming rig can be expensive, but thousands? Honestly? Oof. Anyways, OP has given us an update, so let's move on with that now. I first want to thank everyone who reached out and snapped me out of this daze with my soon-to-be ex. He was extremely toxic and just made me feel not even worth anything. Thus, probably why it was so hard to see he wasn't it. So I want to thank everyone who offered words of encouragement and even the tough love. I needed to hear it. After he went back to his parents, he was waiting for my apology, which I never did. And when he noticed I drained our joint bank, he escalated saying I was his and how I could never actually leave him and that he owned me. All of my success was his and without him, I would be a loser dropout. His family was even worse because I had already blocked them, so they started making fake accounts and using apps to hide their number to harass me, saying that I ruined their son's life and how he sacrificed everything to get me where I am, to throw him to the side like this was disgusting and I deserved to rot. I provided all this to my lawyer, who recommended I take a restraining order in case he wanted to escalate further and to not engage ever, but just keep the records. This has caused my anxiety to go through the roof and I am working on this with my therapist. I have separated the finances completely and changed my banks. Even told them my soon-to-be ex is never allowed to access these accounts because he would take it all and run. I have changed my number and gone completely social media-less besides this. Part of me is broken that our marriage came to end over a computer. I keep thinking I am stupid and how I couldn't see the warning signs. I must look like a fool to everyone. All in all, I'm slowly picking up the pieces of my life and figuring out how to move forward. Thank you to anyone still reading this and thank you everyone who helped me get here. Well, OP, good for you. His reaction and his family's reaction just helps prove that what you are doing is the right thing. And your lawyer is absolutely right. You should get a restraining order and just keep everything they're doing. Don't even engage, but you know, it could be used against them in court. And OP, your marriage didn't end because of a computer. That was just the final straw. So once again, good for you for taking this step and all the best in the future. And on that note, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's from user throwaway this weird. My 31 male friend, 29 female, asked me to be a sperm donor. Then it got weirder. So I have a friend I've known for about 10 years. We met at a job and we've always been close. She's married and I'm single. She's struggling to have a baby with her spouse. Her spouse already has biological children and cannot have them anymore, as a vasectomy where the reversal failed. She reached out and asked if I would be willing to be a sperm donor because she trusts me, knows me, and I have characteristics she'd like in a child and I'm similar in build and characteristics to her husband. I said I'm willing to do it, assuming we'd be going through some bank situation and it'd be pretty procedural. Like, I go to a clinic, produce a sample, she takes sample, impregnates self. I don't know a lot about how it works, but that was the picture in my mind. She was ecstatic that I tentatively agreed. Fast forward to last week. She reached out to me and things were normal. Hey, how are you? Good, you, etc. This conversation quickly transitioned to the sperm donor situation, where she asked me how I'd feel about conceiving the child naturally. So now she is asking me to have sex with her to impregnate her, which sounds risky as hell for me. Seems like all benefit for her and it would probably leave me open to being sued for child support in the future. I also am starting to question if she's being honest with me and really curious if the husband even knows she's talking to me about this. I asked if he knew and her responses were not reassuring. She said something along the lines of, he wants to do what it takes to make me happy. That's giving me a baby. So she didn't directly answer my question. I guess the advice I'm looking for is, should I ignore her going forward? This is a friendship that I thought was strong and 10 years of constant platonic, or so I thought, communication. I don't believe in ghosting and I have trouble shedding friends. I don't have many of them. Should I ask if we can have a dialogue with the husband involved and see how that goes? I want to preserve the friendship and look past this, but it feels weird, awkward, and not okay to me. Yeah, OP, I would say it's at minimum incredibly dodgy that she can't answer the question of whether or not her husband knows that she's trying to get you to have sex with her to impregnate her. And she gave you that non-response about that her husband is okay with anything as long as she's happy. And I would say, OP, that if there's no paper trail, like from a clinic or anything, that this is a donation and that you have absolutely nothing to do with the kid that would come out of this, even if the husband is on board, it does leave you open to be sued for child support. So if you're still willing to be a sperm donor for your friend and keep the friendship, then I would say that the only way you should move forward is that if everything is out in the open and the husband is absolutely okay with this and on board with how things will proceed. And about conceiving the child naturally, I'd be like, nope, I can give you a sample and that's as far as I'm gonna go. What do you guys think about this thing? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes, or what kind of advice would you give him? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's continue with the community comments to see what kind of advice they gave OP. The last Basilope says, hell no, F no, all the no's. Tell her firmly the changes she's proposed makes you no longer comfortable donating sperm to her at all, so the subject needs to be dropped. If she respects that, the friendship could maybe survive, but if she pushes at all, then run. Ita says, I think you're right to feel uncomfortable with the situation. I think you should draw a line where you're comfortable and just be clear that you're not going beyond that. Not sure I'd go talk to the husband though. Seems like getting more involved in something you want to be less involved with. Drew the Poet says, I have been in a similar situation where an ex-girlfriend who had gotten married since we last talked asked the same of me. It was a really awkward and uncomfortable situation and I ended up declining altogether. My best advice is to ask to have a sit-down talk with the friend and her partner. Bring up your concerns, see what they think about it, and discuss your preference to either get legal counsel for the matter or just do it through a bank so you will be legally protected. If they don't want to do things on your terms, I would definitely say that you should decline. This is not a normal situation and could have dire consequences. Well, OP definitely got some pretty good advice. Let's hope it all works out for him and that he's not in a legal bind in the near future. So on that note, let's move on to the next post. This one's from the subreddit Today I Effed Up, and it's from user The Orphans. Today I effed up by learning that my toddler made up their own way of swearing at me and has been telling me to F off for a while. So the build up to this F up. I work out at home and have done since my child was born. I like to work out to music, and there is one particular song that for some reason really helps me get in the mood to squat. It's a song that I'd played for some time without question until 4 months ago because it has a few swear words in it. My child had been listening to the song a lot more because they recently got into dancing to my music. I realized this when they repeated some of the lyrics and I explained to them why sometimes there are words that we don't use and why, etc. My child is very emotionally in tune and can express themselves very well. So after this conversation, they were very alert to any naughty words. So if they hear anyone swear, now they will tell them it's not okay. Let's fast forward to a few weeks ago. My child is now having a lot of big feelings that are resulting in big tantrums. Tantrums where they start lifting their fingers up and crossing them over into the shape of an X, and then saying, "Off, mommy, off," while moving this little X made of fingers in my direction. That confused me for a bit, I must admit. Then came the realization. We were sat down eating dinner, and I said the dreaded word that every toddler hates, no. That one word started something that let me know how intelligent my toddler really is. My toddler lifted their fingers, crossed them over, stared at me and said, "X off, mommy." I sat there for a minute while it dawned on me. I composed myself and then I asked if X meant something else. My toddler silently nodded while staring at me. I asked what it meant and I was met with, "I can't tell you, it's a naughty word, mommy." This was all the confirmation that I needed, but I knew I still had to continue to address this issue. I asked if X was the same word from the song. My toddler broke out laughing, smiled at me and said, "Yes, mommy." They had been telling me to F off in their own very unique way during tantrums for a few weeks now, and I didn't have any idea until it dawned on me that X had another meaning. Well, OP, sounds like your toddler was dealing with his frustration with you the only way they knew how, and telling you to F off, or should I say X off. Here is one very key thing that I've learned as a father. Never confuse small with stupid. You might be able to fool a kid, but that's because they don't know any better. And that does not mean that they're dumb. Some kids are ridiculously smart and will outsmart their parents at some turns. Then of course, lessons learned. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.